Got to give love to Daniel and Breaking Barriers. I'm humbled and honored to be the keynote speaker. I love the Breaking Barriers program and what you guys are doing, and for bringing me on. I sincerely appreciate it, as well as Say Yes. And all of the sponsors, especially those that are in the building. We're recording, so I'm shouting you out because we want some money next year as well. So clap it up for all the sponsors. So who the heck am I? My name is Shomari Akil James. I say my entire name, my entire government, because that's who you're going to know me to be. And that's what you should do as well. I am a product of Buffalo, New York. I started when I was young in Cold Spring. We lived on Utica and Maston. Then, as a little wee fella, I grew up 8 houses down from Tony's Ranch House on Dewey. Then I made my way to Newburgh, but Newburgh was cool, but I was in high school and I felt better on Shuley, so I ran with them Shuley boys, my guys. Then moved to Richlawn. That was a whole different experience. Richlawn was cool, but it was high school, and Richlawn was something else. It is not the Richlawn that I see today when I drive through. Neither is the Fruit Belt as well. But Shomari Akil James is someone that is here that has been in the same seat that you're sitting in right now. What I am not is some rich, wealthy, I almost said weirdo, but we're gonna keep it positive. Some rich, wealthy entertainer, actor, rapper, ball player who's coming on stage to tell you about yourself and what you haven't been doing versus what I've been doing. That is what Shomari is not. Shomari is the individual that actually sat in that seat that you're sitting in. But I'm gonna tell you one thing that I did when I was sitting in that seat, and it's love, because my 86-year-old mentor, Roger Struther, is in the back somewhere. Please give a round of applause to my mentor. What I did when I came to events like this is I made sure that I took bold action and had a bias for action. So I know that y'all are all eating right now, but I want you to do something for me for a second. I want you to take out your phone, and I want you to put your phone up, and I want you to put your camera on me. Right now, everybody, I want everybody. I did not say take a photo. I'm charging for photos, but I want you to take your phone and put it up at me. Somebody got it reversed. That's what I'm talking about. He didn't even turn around, just doing the camera like this. I love it. So as you're looking at me through your lens, which means it's your perspective of how you look at me, I am only the one that delivers the information to you. That's it. I just have words of encouragement when we start talking about financial education, but that's all it is. Now I want you to keep your camera up, and I want you to turn it to the selfie part. What are you looking at right now? Yourself. It is up to you to have a bias for action and take the information that we're getting by looking at that individual that's in your phone right now. It is completely up to you. I'm gonna say a whole lot of things, but it's up to you to take mental notes. It's up to you to take notes on your phone. It's up to you to pull out your Cash App, or not to pay me, but Cash App has an investment vehicle, or your Robinhood, and consider the things that I'm gonna say to you today. So you can put your cameras down. When we talk about financial education, we talk about this capitalistic society. We talk about capitalism versus socialism, and we like to have these debates and these arguments. Please don't leave here and say, Shomari said that socialism is a bad thing. I am not. What Shomari is saying is we can do two things at once. We can chew gum and walk at the same time. What we know is capitalism has done a lot of bad things to black people, period. But it is the game that is being played. So we have to learn the game that is being played and not shift to this individualism of I hate rich people. Because we hate rich people until we become what? Absolutely. Then the game changes. Then that perspective changes for you. So what I'm going to talk about is the difference between financial education and financial literacy. Because ultimately, when we talk about get to the bag, I think that's the theme of this conference. I want to clarify something in getting to the bag. We are not getting to the bag to get rich just to get wealthy. We are getting to the bag because money is a tool for us to have freedom, for us to have liberation. You can clap on that, it's okay, I heard you clap. So always keep that in mind. And the one thing I talk about in order to understand that is we have to have this conversation between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. So what happened with me is I shifted in my life and I turned and I started to believe in something that was bigger than myself. I started to believe in God. Not necessarily, I'm not gonna preach to y'all, man's religion. I believe and I have my relationship with my God. And once that happened, it shifted my framing from a fixed mindset of what the world was telling me it was to a growth mindset of what I'm going to make it to be for me and my family. I'm gonna say it again. A fixed mindset is taking a look at the world and how it is intended to be, but when you get into a growth mindset, you push the world to what you want and need it to be for you. What does that have to do with capitalism and financial education, Shomari? That's a good question. I'm glad y'all asked that question even though y'all got a mic. I love that, I'm gonna answer that. Because when we shift our framing and we open up our light to God and our own universal truth, then we start to ignore the things individuals are saying when they start talking about tax the rich, eat the rich, rich people are bad people. And then you start to think about things like, wait a minute, think about Jay-Z, you think about LeBron James, you think about Griselda. Right now, today, 2025, there are more black millionaire and billionaires than ever in the history of this country. So is it a coincidence that all of a sudden it's a bad thing to be rich? So now when black people start getting money, when minority people start getting money, when BIPOC individuals start getting money, now we want to tax the rich and eat the rich. They don't want us to have nothing. And we've always looked at it to say, hey, we're going to build our own Black Wall Street, Tulsa. We're going to do it by ourselves. We're going to get our own money. We're not going to worry about anybody else. And then what happened to Black Wall Street? Burned it down. Burned it down. So we got to remember with this growth mindset, we got to look at the world and open our eyes to see some of the things we're saying. So when they're espousing rich people are bad people, no, bad people are bad people. Is broke bad people? Is poor bad people? Is rich bad people? They all bad people. President 47 was a bad person when he popped out, period. Then he just happened to get rich because his family was already rich. But I won't digress. I promised my family, my mom and my wife who's here, that I wouldn't talk about politics. So let's go back about this growth and this fixed mindset. There's a difference between being broke and being poor. It's a very, very, very distinct difference. At times in my life, man, even the other day, I was broke. Broke is the absence of income, the absence of some money that I need that is a temporary situation. But I can fix it in that temporary situation because I know the things that I need to do because I am broke to change my situation. With my growth mindset, because I know I need to do something to provide for me and my family. Poor. Poor is a debilitating state of mind that will never allow you to become wealthy, that will never allow you to become rich. Poor is a fixed mindset, meaning you have already deemed yourself beyond broke and saying to yourself, or individuals are saying it about you, poor people can never be rich because of the mindset. Y'all understand what I'm saying, y'all? Don't be poor. Doesn't matter how much money you do or don't have. And for clarity, I cannot dictate to you what wealthy or rich looks like to you. It's a spectrum. I say that I'm wealthy not because of my bank account. I'm wealthy because I have individuals who love me, who support me, and if I need $1, they'll let me borrow it. So you have to determine what rich and wealthy means for you, and how do you get there? Another good question, guys, how do you get there? If you attended our Director of Financial Education for Equity Now, which I am the co-founder, chairman, and CEO of, he talked about 3 things, and then there's a 4th one that's on the end. It's called open, fund, and invest. Open, fund, and invest. Open could mean a lot of different things. What we do at Equity Now with our financial education, which is more than just financial literacy, is we teach that open means open a brokerage account. What's a brokerage account? A brokerage account is an account that allows you to buy into the stock market, allows you to buy securities. So you open an account. I'm not shouting out any brokerage firms because none of them paid me, but you can Google or ChatGPT what a brokerage firm is. So the first step, you open your brokerage account. Then you fund your brokerage account. That means you take the money, you take your bank account, you tie it to your brokerage account where you can buy stocks, and you put $5 in it. You put $10 in it. You put $15 in it. You put whatever in it that you can afford. One of the things I always talk about individuals when I'm having conversations, they say, well, Shomari, I can't afford to invest in the stock market. How many times you go to Starbucks a week? How many times you buy taquitos for the kids? You have enough money, but you have to pay yourself first. Paying yourself first is something that you have to get to be able to build as a habit. So I see a lot of nice, strong folks in here, so I'm gonna use a gym analogy. When you go and you go bench press, you're in the gym, you're ready to bench press, you got a trainer. It might be your first time in the gym, might be your first time bench pressing. They're gonna put you under the bench, and they're not gonna put any weights on the bar. No weights. Because what they're gonna do is they're gonna watch your form, and they're gonna make sure you're doing it right. So then you're building the habit, learning how to square your feet, lay on the bench, and move just the bar. You're building the habit with no weight on there. I don't do that no more. I'm up past like 225. But anyway, I digress. You're just building that habit. How the heck does that translate to investing in the stock market, Shomari? Because it doesn't matter how much you have to put into your brokerage account. You want to build the habit. If I only have $5 to put into that account when I pay myself first, and creating the habit to pay myself first, then I just put $5 in every single time. I'm building the habit. It takes what, 20, 21, I'm gonna say 28 days because my birthday is May 28th. So it takes 28 days to build a habit. So once you build that habit, that $5, and then you start to see, oh, I could do $10. I could do $20. I ain't missed this dub. I could do 500. I could do a stack. Because that money is no longer in your bank account where you have your income and you're paying your bills. You're taking that money out of that account and moving it over to your brokerage account, building the habit, and now you've funded your account. I'm gonna be real with you people. The culture, we stop there quite often. And a few things happen. We say, look, Shomari, I opened my account, I funded it, I put $1,000 in there, I put a stack in there, and it ain't do nothing. And I say, well, did you do the next step? You opened, you funded, but did you invest? Because the money is in a money market account inside of your brokerage account, and it's not making money until you invest it into the stock market. Now, some folks might be sitting there saying, I don't know how the stock market works. I'm worried about the stock market. You got bruh in the White House doing market manipulation. We being recorded, and yes, I said it. He is literally doing things out loud in our face that is illegal, and some of us are laughing. He manipulated the market, brought in the individuals into his office, and then laughed and said he made X amount of $1 billion. You know why he made that much money? Because he made the market blink, told his folks, they made trades, and then the market moved. That's called illegal market manipulation. But I keep going back to politics. I'm sorry, y'all. We're gonna go all the way back. I gotta cut it out. I gotta cut it out. So what you need to do is invest those funds. Now, for those of you who, again, I digress from, I don't know what that means. I don't know how to invest. We're gonna run a little exercise. And this is not to embarrass anybody. This is just to prove a point. This is just to show you all. Raise and keep your hand up, your left hand, if you own Apple TV, a MacBook, or an iPad. Raise your left hand, keep it up real super high, super high, super high, super high, super high. I wanna see it, I wanna see it, I wanna see it. If you own Apple TV or an iPad or a MacBook, now, keep your hands up, keep your hands up, keep your hands up, look around the room. Raise your right hand if you own an iPhone. Hands all the way up, hands all the way up. Look around the room, look around the room. Everybody look around the room. Look around the room, look at all the hands up. Now, put your hand, you ready? Put both of your hands down if you have 5 or more shares of Apple stock. %90 of the room put their hands down. 90% of the room. You know, oh, you can put your hands down. I appreciate those who go on the side. You can put your hands down. He was in the gym, so he kept his hand up like, I lift 325 too, bro. Why do I do that exercise? Because I want to demystify the fixed mindset that you don't know how to invest in the stock market. Instead of buying Jordans, buy Nike stock. I don't know, somebody, I didn't even plan on this. Somebody look up right now and then scream out loud, what's Apple's stock price right now today? 203, I heard 203, that was fast. Somebody had it in their back pocket or they knew I was going to ask that question. Somebody cheating. 203. Now somebody scream out, how much, what iPhone we on? 16, 17, 18? 16? I'm a Droid user, so I don't know. Let's go. I heard boo. I bet you that person that boo don't own the stock. No, and I own the stock. All right. So the 16 will cost you how much? Ballpark. $1,200 versus a $200 stock. Do the math on how many shares you could buy as opposed to buying that iPhone. And then to go back to politics a little bit, while your man is playing around with China, who is petty and not playing, your iPhone's gonna cost you about $3,000 real soon. Don't be fooled that he said he's going to exclude phones because you got screens, you got chips, you got cases, you got everything that's tied to it. So your phone is going to cost you $3,000. You do know how to invest in the stock market. I'm gonna push you to consider what we have to do for the culture is move from a consumerism mindset, which is $1 trillion mindset. We in here, for the culture, are $1 trillion business. It is not by accident that the A+, that the 7-Eleven, that the check cashing place, that they move into black neighborhoods. Because they know we spending the money, we have $1 trillion. I'm gonna give you one more statistic. There is a community. In that community, which I won't name, the dollar in that community changes hands within that community, with each other in that community, that demographic, that ethnicity, those individuals, for 24 days. 24 days, almost a month. My birthday's the 28th, reminder of me. 26, go Gemini. 24 days. Take a wild guess at how long the black dollar stays in our community. Wild guess.
6 hours.
Ooh, I heard it doesn't. That would bring me to tears. 12 hours. 12 hours. It doesn't even last a day because we're buying iPhones. We're buying J's. We're buying everybody else's product to make them rich as consumers as opposed to being producers and owners. I just stressed the stock market. And I gave you an idea of what it looks like to open, fund, invest in the stock market. You might not be ready. I respect that. Everybody's not ready, I understand. But remember, you had the camera facing me, and I'm giving you the information. Then you had the camera facing you, and it's up to you what you do with the information when you leave here, having a bias for action to get to the bag, because the goal is what? Freedom. And money is a what? So, I'm cool, I get it. Let's spend a little time to do some research, open, fund, invest, demystify the stock market. I might not be ready. Okay, I respect that, I get that. So let's open that business plan. Let's open ChatGPT. Let's open that business partnership. Let's open the intellectual property that you have in your head because you make really good drinks. So you can go out here and be your own LLC and a bartender. Let's open your mind to purchasing a double instead of a single so you can get income from the bottom. Because if you buy that house and you charge somebody $500 for rent and your mortgage is only $400, how much money are you making a month? I tricked y'all, probably not $100. I mean, you got expenses, a little bit of expenses, but y'all get the point. Y'all get the point. So I get it. We're gonna move off the stock market. I love me some stock market. I do. But let's open your mind from that fixed mindset to that growth mindset of what can I do to bring in additional income. You all are smart, beautiful people. You can right now, stop paying attention to me, please don't, because I love it when the lights are on. Go into ChatGPT on your phone, give it your idea that you've been thinking about for the past year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and say, write me a business plan on this. Then after it writes you the business plan, which will be 90% baked, you fill it out, put back into ChatGPT, how do I execute this business plan? Once you get that locked and loaded, what partners do I need to execute this business plan? Then once you get that locked in, how do I find funding for this business plan? And ChatGPT is going to spit it all out to you. One thing we do for the culture, the one thing we do is not pay attention to our own intellectual property that we have right here. We are brilliant people, and we allow individuals to step on that, to squash that, to dim our light. There's too many tools out here. There's too many individuals who are willing to fund businesses for us to continue to do this in perpetuity. I only talked about open. That was just open. Moving away from the stock market. Fund. You got a couple bucks? Fund your buddy's business. You got a couple bucks? Get with a group of people and start an investment club and fund it. You got a couple bucks? Whatever that idea is, fund it. Don't have to open, fund, invest in the stock market. You got to pay yourself first and fund the ideas that you're thinking about. Invest. Moving away from the stock market talk. Y'all can probably already know what I'm going to say. You should invest in who? You. Invest in yourself. And again, rich, wealthy, they different to me. I want to be wealthy. I want to have sustainability. And wealthy is not just rich, it's not just money. So when I talk about investing in myself, I'm talking about reading. I'm talking about ChatGPT. I'm talking about going to the gym. I'm talking about drinking water. You know how many people don't drink water? Invest in yourself. Then after you invest in yourself, things become clear. Take time for yourself. In my organization, we call it meta time. We are always on our phone. If we're not on our phone, we're on a computer, on some type of social media. If we're not, we're on Netflix, Apple TV. If you haven't seen Gangs of London, it's crazy, but watch it after you invest in yourself. But it's dope. We're always on those things. When do we have time, which we call meta time in our organization, where we just sit back and the only thing we're thinking about is ourselves? The only thing we're thinking about is our future. The only thing we're thinking about is building. The only thing we're thinking about is what can I do to set me and my family up for success and wealth based off my definition. Because my definition is different than your definition. What wealth equals to you might be dynamically different than what wealth equals to me. Am I okay on time, Daniel? I see you just look at your phone. Because listen, I said I didn't feel so hot, but I get the mic and I can just keep going. I got 5 more minutes. So as I close this thing out, I want to talk to you about the difference between financial literacy and financial education. It's a dynamically different thing here. What does it mean when you're literate? You can speak it. You can read it, right? Right? I mean, I speak muy poquito español. Like a little bit. My wife, she's literate at it. She can read it, right? That's excellent. That's amazing. So when you're literate at something, you can look at it, conceptualize it, understand it. But what's missing? Application. I don't know who said that, but love. Application. So when I earlier talked about open, fund, invest, and I said for the culture, we open, we fund, and then we don't invest. Through the research, that's what we found. Those two match. We got some financial literacy skills, but we stop at the application piece. We don't finish the business plan. We don't invest. Or we have a business and we don't charge based off what we should charge, even though we know how much we're worth. That's financial education. Financial education is the theory and practice. And the theory and practice of financial education is for liberation. I am all too tired of the ESPN story of the athlete that came out of the mud, excuse my French, some white person gave him some money, and now they King James. Or King whomever, and they went through all of these harsh moments. And now, because they were helped by someone other than someone who looks like them, they this big superstar. I don't know if that happened to LeBron. I just use that as an example. So LeBron, if you listen to this, you got way more money than me, so don't come for me, please. My point though, what does it look like? What problems would we have to solve if every single one of these young people in this room came from that silver spoon? We know what it looks like to be in the hood. We know what it looks like to be on the block. And please don't question me. I went to 4 different high schools. I started at Seneca. I got kicked out. I went to Alternative on Sycamore and Sobieski. They shut it down because we were so bad. I went to Main and Oak, which is now apartments. And then I finally graduated from Bennett. So trust me, Ben High in the building. Okay, Ben High in the building. So I can say this, folks. We know what the mud looks like. We know the problems associated with our scholars, with our children who are broke but consider themselves poor. How do we shift that? How do we start having conversations around this little Negro got all this money and don't know what to do with it? Those are the conversations I want to have. I want us to move to a growth mindset where every single one of you understand financial education to get to the bag, because money is a tool to ultimately create our own liberation, because nobody is coming to save us, and I'm not begging nobody for 40 acres and a mule. I'm buying my own. I sincerely appreciate you. My name is Shomari Akil James from Delavan and Bailey. Graduated from Buffalo State College. I now live in the DMV, but I love Buffalo so much, I am here. I love my people, I love the culture, and I love Buffalo, New York.
Excellent.
Come on, let's do better than that, man. Everybody say open, say fun, say invest, say open, fun, invest, open, fun, invest. Give it up one more time for Shomari Akil James. Okay, we are about to go to our next sessions. Look on